As I sit here, tuned in to Sportsnet Pacific, waiting for the Vancouver Canucks to play the best team in the league in Winnipeg, I gotta take a little bit of a step back and talk about the Habs. Because today was a perfect day for the Montreal Canadiens. And I know you can say that there are some things that could have gone a little bit more perfect, if you wanted to say that. Hey, Montemo could have had a shutout. The Habs could have scored 100 goals. But ultimately, within the world of realism and what actually transpired, you could not have had a better day than today. The Ottawa Senators had themselves a chance to boost up their playoff odds to, what was the number, 99 point something percent with the regulation win today against Montreal. Meanwhile, the Habs had their own playoff wildcard race to battle for in today's contest, and they end up taking the dub. Montreal, in this game, 6-3 victory over the Ottawa Senators, put themselves into a much better spot for the playoffs. Now, to be fair, it wasn't too close before today's game action. Montreal had a 21% chance of making the playoffs via moneypuck.com before today's events. With the regulation win over Ottawa, their playoff odds bump up 6% to 27.1 total. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, what the hell? 27.1%? Aren't the Canadiens in a playoff spot right now? Yes, that is absolutely the case. They are in the second wild card. They have overtaken the New York Rangers, and the Rangers, in their game against the Calgary Flames, absolutely blew it. This is why it was an incredible day for the Montreal Canadiens. The New York Rangers, losing this game in regulation, decreased their playoff odds from 52% to 38.5%. That's ridiculous. They ended up losing 2-1, bearing any unexpected offside empty net goals that were scored. It's a 2-1 regulation loss for New York, and Montreal, as a result, leapfrogs the Rangers in that final wildcard spot. Not to mention the other teams here. The New York Islanders ended up winning against the Pittsburgh Penguins, unfortunately. The Red Wings ended up losing, though, so you could say that. It pains me to talk light about one of my favorite teams losing on a contest here. But the Montreal Canadiens with the regulation win and the New York Rangers with the regulation loss absolutely puts things in favor for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I know Sens fans will be a little bit upset at all the gloating for the results of this game here, but come on, you guys are already so far up into the wild card race. I think there's a reason Money Puck had y'all at 99 point something percent of making the dance with this result here against Montreal. Ottawa's going to win another game at some point. They've got 15 more games to do so, and when that happens, they will essentially put themselves into unreachable territory for the rest of the East. But Montreal, the regulation win here, 6-3 against the Sens. Before we talk about the game, let's talk about the Rangers too, because I know a lot of fans were watching, paying attention to that Calgary-New York game. I know I said here on this channel that I'm kind of conflicted because Calgary can't get any points because it'll reduce the Canucks' chance in making the playoffs, but the Rangers can't get any points because it'll reduce the Canadiens' chances of making the playoffs. So as a guy who cheers for both Vancouver and Montreal, I was kind of conflicted, but I was saying, you know what, I would probably prefer New York to take the victory in regulation, of course, because Calgary and Vancouver, that race is a lot more tight than Montreal's and New York's appears to be. But ultimately, New York absolutely fumbles the bag here. They don't get any shots on goal. JT Miller gets speared in the cup. The team ends up fumbling away a really nice save percentage performance out of Igor Shesterkin, and Dan Vladar gets a somewhat easy dub. I say somewhat easy because they only had to make 12 saves, but the Rangers end up losing this game 2-1 in regulation. Calgary takes the 2 points, so I am kind of panicking, biting my nails here, heading into this Canucks versus Winnipeg Jets game that's about to start in a little bit. The Canucks and Flames are tied in the wildcard race right now. However, Calgary does have the regulation win tiebreaker. That's going to be addressed later today. If the Vancouver Canucks lose against Winnipeg in regulation, then okay, we will start panicking a lot more later in today's show. But let's talk about the win that Montreal pulled off against the Ottawa Senators, because honestly, I feel like it came out of nowhere. I only say that because the Sens at one point in the game were up 2-1, but then in the third period, this is when Montreal just started putting everything into the net past Linus Ullmark. Opening things up, making it 1-0, Christian Dvorak 2 minutes into the game. Nice to see Dvorak getting his 8th of the season. He hasn't necessarily been too productive of a scorer the past few years, but it's always appreciated when he's able to split the D and come in on a kind of breakaway chance. Yeah, it was a breakaway. It was just kind of tight there. But he comes in and he triple dekes around Linus Ullmark. Really nice play there to make it 1-0 for Montreal. Making it 1-1, though, at the end of the first is none other than Drake Batherson. Right off the draw, Montreal loses control. Cousins goes over to Batherson, and Batherson just decides to do it himself. He goes through everybody. And he doesn't even, go through anybody. He just kind of skates forward. And the Canadiens' D pair, I think it was David Savard and Xhekaj, they just don't really do anything. What an unfortunate read there by the Habs D-core. Heading into the second period, though, Michael Amadio makes it 2-0 at the halfway mark of the contest. It's a shot that gets thrown into the corner, played back over onto the point. A little bit more cycling occurs, and it's Travis Hamonic who tosses it towards the goal from range, and Michael Amadio is behind the goaltender to put that loose puck right in behind Sammy Montembeault. So a 2-1 game for Ottawa. But in the third period, this is where Montreal decided that they wanted to win. It all starts out with Lane Hutson. Another goal off the face-off here as Hutson does a little shimmy-shammy. He walks down the left, he shoots, and he goes top glove on Linus Ullmark. That's his 5th goal on the year. Yeah, that's right. Lane Hutson has 5 goals on the season. Do you remember at the beginning of the year when we were saying, hey, this guy might never score a goal at all? Now he's got 5. So, great game goal there from Lane Hutson, assisted by Jake Evans, who won the faceoff. Travis Hamonic, that aforementioned Hamonic, then gives Ottawa the lead once more. This one, oddly enough, it comes on the rush. As the Sens break it into the zone, they play it back to the right side. Hamonic winds up with a slapper, and it beats Montembeault. That is not a good goal to give up from range for Sammy there, but fortunately, no harm, no foul, as the Canadiens get it right back. Josh Anderson responds just 4 minutes later, assisted by Alexandre Carrier and Christian Dvorak. Carrier has 18 assists on the year. That doesn't sound right, but you think about it and it's like, hey, the guy actually is a strong puck-moving defenseman. He has been able to do this for a good chunk of the year, so nice to see that. He throws it towards the goal, and Josh Anderson is right there in front to get the rebound. 5 minutes later, Nick Suzuki makes it 4-3, and this is a really nice goal too. It's on the power play. Montreal takes advantage. It's the second unit, actually towards the tail end of the power play. Suzuki goes over to the goal line, gets the pass back, zips it across to the opposite side, a shot, the rebound, and Nick Suzuki is right there to put the puck by a down and out Ullmark. 4-3 game for Montreal, followed up by 2 empty netters, Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher. This game went crazy for Christian Dvorak. This guy had 4 points, a goal and 3 assists for Dvorak. Not to mention 3 points out of Gallagher, 2 goals out of Anderson, 2 assists out of Jake Evans. This is what happens when you don't have Slafkovsky, Caulfield, and Suzuki needing to produce. You have the depth guys coming in there and showing their worth. Christian Dvorak got 4 points today, ladies and gentlemen, and it was a perfect day for the Montreal Canadiens with that New York Rangers game ending in regulation for Calgary. I'm going to go and watch this Canucks game against the Winnipeg Jets. We'll see what happens with that playoff race as today goes on. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Montreal and Ottawa. I hope you enjoyed this video. and bye.